In the backdrop of a Chinese research vessel heading towards the Maldivian capital of Male, our principal diplomatic correspondent Sidhant Sibal spoke to India's Navy Chief Admiral R. Hari Kumar on Chinese vessels' presence in the Indian Ocean, the growing tensions in the Red Sea and various other issues. Listen to what he had to say.
Indian Navy is the largest resident power in the Indian Ocean region with its assets like warships and submarines. Now there are opportunities and challenges as well. With me is the Navy Chief Admiral Hari Kumar. So welcome to WION. It's a pleasure to speak to you here at the Navy House. My first question to you is, how do you assess the ongoing situation in the Arabian Sea and in the Red Sea? We have seen attacks happening, and we have seen attacks by the Houthis when it comes to various vessels traversing that part of the Indian Ocean.
Well, first of all, I'm very happy to be on this channel with you, Sidhant. If you ask me what are the situation like, I would say it is quite fragile. We have been seeing a number of attacks on merchant ships. At least 15 of them have been reported over the last about 45 days or so in the Red Sea region alone. And this doesn't count those which are near misses or which have failed attempts and so on, or which have been, the attacks which have been prevented, etc. So there is a large number of things which are happening in the Red Sea. The merchant ships are getting targeted, largely merchant ships of a particular, which have got a particular linkage with with the Israel is what is being targeted. But when you come further this side towards the North Arabian Sea and the Central Arabian Sea, I would say, there have been attacks, drone attacks on the merchant ships. Some have been at extended ranges. And this is a cause of concern, particularly for us, because this is our region and we want to keep it safe, secure and stable. And we find that the piracy is also another aspect which is probably taking advantage of all this disturbance that is happening in the Red Sea. Piracy also seems to have resurfaced. We saw one successful piracy attack, and subsequently there was an attack on one of our vessels which had a large number of Indian crew. And in general, if you say in this region, it is a matter of concern for us that it has suddenly moved from safe and stable region to somewhat fragile situation. And then of late we have seen the issues between in the real North Arabian Sea as well, of disputes happening between Iran and Pakistan. So all in all, there is a lot of challenges which emerge, and therefore we have sort of responded to these challenges. So we have had a forward presence. We have been mission deployed ships, and we have increased the number of deployments, and currently we are pursuing two operations. One is the anti-piracy operations and the other anti-drone operation. So the anti-piracy operation is something which has been going on from 2008, and I would say it had tapered off, and in the early part of 2023 we thought it had almost become nil. But then we find that towards the end of 23 it has again resurfaced. So therefore we have taking proactive action to ensure that the piracy is stopped and pushed back to the shores on the other side. And we are now pursuing at the same time we are pursuing the anti-drone operations also. We used to have something called the Op Sankalp, which has been there from 2017 onwards, essentially to support the ships in the Persian Gulf. And that we have sort of strengthened so that the merchant ships in this area in case they are getting targeted, whatever help we can do, we'll be able to provide. So these are the two ongoing operations right now. And as you said, we are the largest resident naval power in the Indian Ocean region. So therefore, we need to take proactive action to ensure that the region remains safe and secure.
So you mentioned about the situation being fragile in the region. Now, you also talked about various operations, but if you can give a number, how many Indian warships are there when it comes to the Arabian Sea, the northern part, the central part, and Gulf of Aden to deal with the ongoing situation?
See, from 2008 onwards, we have been continuously deploying one warship in the Gulf of Aden for anti-piracy operations. And so far, by now, must have rotated about 106 ships, which have been 24/7 deployed there to ensure that we support the merchant ships, escort the merchant ships, and so on. Similarly, we have been sending ships off and on to the Gulf of Guinea as well on the west coast of Africa to protect our interests there. And now with the escalated anti-piracy operations as well as anti-drone operations, we have more than 10 ships, capital ships deployed. Two of them are primarily for the anti-piracy tasks, and the rest of them are for the anti-drone support. So we are our deployments currently extends in the northern coast of Somalia, that is from Bab el Mandab onwards, eastward, and then in the North Arabian Sea, Central Arabian Sea, and closer towards the east coast of Somalia as well for anti-piracy operations. So it's not just the ships alone, but there are P-8I aircraft, there are the MQ-9B or the Sea Guardian RPS, and closer to the coast we have the Dorniers and other RPS as well. So all these assets are being deployed to try and maintain 24/7 surveillance of our area of interest, to ensure that we know what is happening there, who's there, what are they doing, and so on.
So we saw that attack, the drone attack on MV Kem Pluto in the month of December. Any outcomes? Who was responsible? We know we had the debris of the drone as well. What has been the investigation that who was responsible, because it came very close to India's exclusive economic zone?
Yeah, it was about 210 miles from Gujarat, just outside our EEZ, and it had suffered a little bit of damage. So we had responded immediately, and our EOD team embarked. The ship was brought to Mumbai, escorted by us, and then our EOD team embarked the ship and cleared the ship of explosive content, explosive material, and the debris has been taken for analysis. So what has been established that it is definitely a drone, that has caused this damage, but the fragments were very few. Because a lot of it had already perished, and it is now gone for forensic analysis. So only conclusively we can say it's a drone, but where it has come from, who's launched it, etc., is still under discussion. But we are hopeful that we will get some further details once because the way the number of attacks are happening, we should be able to get a little bit more clarity soon.
But do you think the region is in a precipice? I mean, do you think that the instability is going to increase in coming few months, given that the attacks continue and now the situation looks to be heading towards in much more negative trajectory?
I wouldn't say it is on a precipice, but I would say probably it is on the edge in many ways. And this region, I would say, when you look at it, you see the attacks by the Houthis, on the merchant shipping and the trade that is happening. Then it is further made complex by the presence of the US-led coalition, which is there in the Red Sea, right in the Red Sea from Bab el Mandab onwards, upwards. Presence of many more multinational ships in the northern Indian Ocean region. Also, the drone attacks which are happening. Now, some of the merchant ships, they have already started rerouting around the Cape of Good Hope and coming around. Now, what does it imply? It implies that freight charges are going to go up. The transit time is going to be increased by almost 10 days. Then insurance costs will go up, etc. So further with the with the realignments that are happening, the war that is going on between Israel and Hamas. So all this has got a domino effect in the whole region, I feel. So we hope that it stabilizes and sort of draws down rather than getting more and more people involved in it and escalating into conflict. Because we want to see this region as a region of peace, region of safety and security for all those who use it for legitimate purposes.
So you mentioned about the Indian Ocean region. Now there is one concern of increased Chinese presence. How does the Indian Navy deals with it?
See, every country has got a right to use the oceans for legitimate purposes. Actually, we say that the oceans do not divide; they actually unite. So China is looking for energy, sources for energy, for raw materials, minerals. And at the same time, it's also looking for markets. So therefore, China is here to engage with the countries in the region for various things. It's okay with us so long as it is pursuing legitimate interests. But at the same time, we find now the number of the presence of Chinese warships have gone up. We have at any point of time there are anything between 6 to 8 naval units present here. There are research vessels present, and there's a large number of fishing vessels also present here. So therefore we and in addition they also now have a base in Djibouti, which from all the information that we have, it is essentially to support operations from there by their ships and related assets. So therefore we keep a close watch on what is happening there. We keep a close watch on the research activities that are being pursued, and so long as it does not affect our interests, then we do keep a watch. But if it does impinge upon our interests, then of course we take necessary action.
Well, there are reports that a Chinese vessel is moving towards Maldives. What's your assessment about that? What would you say on that?
So they have been, some of the research vessels have been engaging with our countries in the region. They have earlier engaged with Sri Lanka. They have and done research work for them in their EEZ. Similarly, they have engaged with with Bangladesh to carry out research activities in the EEZ of Bangladesh. So this probably they are making a visit, and perhaps they want to, they have been invited by the Maldives government to do some research work jointly, etc. So we will keep a watch on it closely.
Sir, your message to the family members of those ex-Indian Navy sailors who are in Qatari custody. We saw the positive news, but your message to their family members.
The government of India is doing every effort to ensure that they are brought back safe. So I've personally been interacting with all the authorities here, and every effort is being made to ensure that they come back.
So coming back to the Maldives bit, now we know that there is an ongoing diplomatic crisis of sorts. The Maldivian president has said that the Indian so-called troops should leave, but there are question marks over the usage of the platforms as well for humanitarian purposes. So what do you make of the comments and the deadline which has been given by the Maldives president of 15th of March?
See, we have been engaging with the Maldives military for a long time. It's not just something just started recently. It has been going on for a long time. We have training exchanges. We have many of them, large number of them do training with us. We have engaged in capability development as well as capacity building, with them. We have some of our ships, Dornier aircraft. All this are positioned there to assist their military in doing, various tasks that they're given. And we have maintenance teams there to support, etc. So it's a decision between the two governments. So in case we are told to, whatever the order which is given from the government, we are willing to do it. But military to military or the navy to navy between us, we have been engaging extensively. Even now we have the officers and sailors from Maldives who are doing training in our institution. So it's a continuous process. So depending upon whatever is the decision between the governments, we will just follow it. No problem from our side.
So, can you shed some light on the bilateral aspect? We have several bilateral exercises. Recently, we had with Thailand as well. If you can talk about what's the future like, what are we looking at in terms of these exercises with other countries, including, of course, with Thailand as well?
It's an interesting question that you asked, because we have just concluded the exercise in end of December. The first, exercise with Thailand, and I had also just gone on a visit to Thailand and met the chief there, because Thailand is now the chair for the IONS, and for the next 2 years. They have taken over from France, and they'll head the IONS, Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, for the next 2 years, and thereafter it is our turn in 2025 December. So it was a very important, activity they had coordinated at Thailand for, in the change of leadership of the IONS. So this exercise, especially in the wake of the celebrations yesterday at Ayodhya, it assumes significance, because we have also brought some soil from Ayutthaya, and Ayutthaya actually is almost as important as Ayodhya, and the meaning is the invincible one or undefeatable. So the exercise has been named as Exercise Ayutthaya, and we have, and incidentally, this is just one of the exercises that we are engaging with. Last year we had almost 27 exercises, 56 maritime engagement exercises, and we have had 7 coordinated patrols, 7 joint EZ patrols, and so on. So we have been engaging with the friendly foreign countries in the region extensively, and this exercise Ayutthaya is just one of them which has happened.
Moving from east to west, countries, when it comes to West Asian region, have been engaging as well. We saw the visit of the Saudi Navy chief as well. There are cadets from Saudi Arabia training with us. If you can elaborate on that aspect, how we are training, building capacity, engaging with these countries like Saudi Arabia.
Incidentally, last year there was a request from Saudi Arabia to give sea training to 55 cadets of the Royal Saudi Naval Force, and it was the first time that such a request had come, and we said we had worked out a time when our own training schedule was minimal, and we had offered the slot to them. So these cadets who were training in their naval academy, they had come down to Cochin. They did a few days of harbour training, and they spent extensive time at sea, hands-on, doing the actual work at sea. And they were very happy with the quality of training, because the first time they got exposure to various aspects that we do at sea, whether it is handling lowering and racing of a boat, handling a boat at sea, keeping a watch at sea, watches in the machinery room, and operating a gun, carrying out firings, so and controlling aircraft, and conning a ship, trying to bring a ship to pick up a man overboard, and whole lot of things. The entire thing that is normally taught to our own officers, the same training was given to them over those 25 odd days. And I had gone and interacted with them at Cochin, and just to get a feedback from them as to whether they're happy with the training. They were exceptionally happy with the quality of training, and they had recommended, once they went back, they said that this training should be continued. So in fact, when the Saudi chief had come on the visit, he apart from meeting many dignitaries in Delhi, he had also gone down to Cochin, where our training establishments are located. And he went around to see the training facilities, which included the simulators and state-of-the-art equipment, as well as our training ships, as well as INS Vikrant, or indigenous carrier. So the team was very satisfied and impressed with the quality of training that we give, and in fact they've already requested to accommodate 67 cadets in the next batch, which is likely to come in this year, somewhere in May, June or so. And also they want 2 cadets to be trained in the Naval Academy. We run a 4-year B.Tech graduation course where you get a permanent commission, and also another 2 officers for watchkeeping on different ships. So this engagement is going to be quite positive and progressive, and we are sure that we will be able to work together to because when you train together, especially in the junior level, then the bonds that are built, they last for almost your entire lifetime in the service.
From bilateral to multilateral, we're looking at the Millon Exercise in February. If you can talk about that, how many countries are participating and what will be the scale of this year's Millon Exercises?
We have invited more than 58 countries. We have got response from almost 47 countries so far. We are quite sure that we may have about 50 plus countries participating. Already almost 18 ships and 1 aircraft are likely to be a part of the Millon. So it has got a harbor phase where the participants are introduced to subject matter expert discourses. There is a seminar, there is interaction. They get a flavor of India. Some participants are even taken to see the Taj Mahal, and some are taken to Bodh Gaya and so on. So that is one part of it in the harbour, and apart from the other, they get a idea of our culture. They are exposed to cultural shows and the various culinary delights in our country and so on. And then there is a sea phase. So in the sea phase, largely the participating ships and some of the observers will embark, and we'll have our own ships as well there. So they engage in various exercises at sea, whether it's boarding exercises, whether it is maritime interdiction operations, air defense, anti-surface, exercises, firings. So all this will be undertaken off Vizag. So it is going to be one of the it will be the largest exercise conducted by the Indian Navy so far, with such a large participation.
So the French president is coming this week. Do we expect some big ticket announcement when it comes to Rafale M and other such deals which have been talked about?
I'm not too sure the announcement is required or will be done, but the DAC has already approved the 26 Rafale case for the Navy. So now the activities for the price negotiation, contractual requirements, those are being taken forward. And the second one that we're doing with France is the 3 additional Scorpions or the Calvary class submarines, which is also been approved by the DAC and which is being pursued, because MDL is the shipbuilder for that, and we are working with them for their bid documents, etc. So these are the 2 projects, big projects which are having with them, and it is already on in the sense.
So my final question to you is, we have talked about the situation in the Red Sea, Arabian Sea and all the situation in the Indian Ocean region, but in the larger Indo-Pacific region, there is a lot of volatility. There are countries who have been involved in the aggressive actions. What's your sense how the situation can go in a positive trajectory or can go in a very much negative trajectory?
See, in the Indo-Pacific region, there are many existing disputes, both territorial, maritime. So, in a sense, it is fragile. While we should use diplomacy and negotiations to resolve these issues, there is always the scope for escalation, and escalation means it can go into a conflagration and maybe into a conflict. So therefore, there is a need for us to be prepared, and therefore that is our primary role, to deter any conflict-like situation developing. Other than that, there are a large number of other anti like narcotics, gun running, smuggling, then illegal immigration, IUU fishing. So a whole lot of these things are happening in the Indian Ocean region, and by various actors. So therefore there is and all these also because of the money that gets generated, it translates into violence, into terrorism, and so on. So, and these are problems, I would say, without passports, in the sense they can move from one region to another without, they don't require any passport, nothing. They traverse down, they sell drugs, they can sell arms, they can bring in people, they can cause terror acts and so on. So therefore the need for great vigilance, and so we are cooperating with many of the countries in the region. As you are aware, there is cooperation between the Quad countries as well, because we have a common vision of a free, open, inclusive Indo-Pacific, which is based on a rules-based order. And they were working on various aspects like IPMDA, Maritime Domain Awareness in the Indo-Pacific, where the inputs are collated together at various places, so that you have a fairly comprehensive picture of what is happening in the region, and who's doing what, and what are they up to, and so on. So there is collaboration and some amount of competition as well.
Well, on that note, thank you so much, sir, for speaking to WION. It was lovely to speak to you on a range of issues and get a perspective as to how the Indian Navy is dealing with the opportunities and the challenges. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Sidhant.